Have you ever been lying in bed at night, the house completely silent, and there it is again, that high-pitched ringing, buzzing, or hissing sound that never seems to go away? You turn up the TV to drown it out. You try earplugs. You've had your hearing checked and the doctor says everything looks normal, but the noise is still there, every single day, slowly chipping away at your focus, your sleep, and your peace of mind. What if I told you that for a surprising number of people, this isn't just something you have to live with, and it might not even be a hearing problem at all? It could be your body quietly waving a red flag, telling you it's running low on one specific nutrient that plays a critical role in how your nerves and inner ear communicate with your brain. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what tinnitus really is, why it happens, which nutrient deficiency is most strongly linked to it, and the simple, practical steps you can start today to support your ear health from the inside out. Let's start with the basics. Tinnitus is the medical term for hearing a sound. Ringing, buzzing, hissing, clicking, or even a whooshing noise that isn't coming from any actual source in your environment. It's not in your imagination. It's a real signal your brain is generating, often because something along the hearing pathway, from the tiny hair cells in your inner ear, all the way to the auditory centers in your brain, isn't functioning the way it should. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. Tinnitus itself isn't usually a disease. It's a symptom, your body's way of saying, something here needs attention. And just like a fever can be caused by dozens of different infections, ringing in the ears can be triggered by many different underlying issues. Exposure to loud noise, earwax buildup, certain medications, blood pressure problems, jaw and TMJ issues, stress, and, this is the part we're focusing on today, nutritional deficiencies. So which nutrient are we talking about? The one that comes up again and again in research and clinical observation is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is essential for the health of your nerves. It helps maintain the protective coating around nerve fibers called the myelin sheath. Think of it like the insulation around an electrical wire. The auditory nerve, which carries sound signals from your inner ear to your brain, depends on this insulation to transmit clean, accurate signals. When B12 levels drop too low, that insulation can become damaged or thin, and the nerve can start sending faulty, glitchy signals. And one of the ways your brain may interpret that static is as a persistent ringing or buzzing sound. Here's a catchy way to think about it. Imagine your auditory nerve is like a fiber optic cable carrying a phone call. When everything is working properly, the call is crystal clear. But if the protective casing around that cable gets damaged, say it gets nicked or frayed, you start hearing static, crackling, or interference on the line, even though no one is actually making that noise. That static is a lot like tinnitus, and vitamin B12 is part of what keeps that cable casing in good condition. Now, B12 isn't the only nutrient connected to ear health, but it's one of the most consistently studied in relation to tinnitus. Several studies have found that a meaningful percentage of people who experience chronic tinnitus also have lower than normal B12 levels. And in some of these studies, when B12 levels were corrected through supplementation, a noticeable number of participants reported improvement in their symptoms. Magnesium is another nutrient worth mentioning. Magnesium plays a role in protecting the delicate hair cells inside the cochlea, the snail-shaped structure in your inner ear responsible for converting sound vibrations into electrical signals. Some research suggests that low magnesium levels may make these hair cells more vulnerable to damage from loud noise, which over time can contribute to both hearing loss and tinnitus. And then there's zinc. Zinc is involved in cellular repair processes throughout the body, including in the structures of the inner ear. Some smaller studies have looked at zinc supplementation in people with tinnitus, particularly older adults, and found modest improvements in some cases, though the research here is mixed, and zinc deficiency is less common than B12 deficiency in most populations. So why does this matter to you, sitting here right now? because if you've been told your tinnitus is just something you have to live with, that may not be the full picture. A simple blood test, checking your vitamin B12 level and potentially magnesium and zinc as well, could reveal whether a nutritional gap is contributing to what you're experiencing. Who tends to be at higher risk for B12 deficiency? A few groups stand out. People over the age of 50, because as we age, our stomachs naturally produce less of the acid needed to absorb B12 from food. People following a vegetarian or vegan diet, since B12 is found almost exclusively in animal products like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. People taking certain long-term medications, such as metformin for diabetes or proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, both of which can interfere with B12 absorption over time, and people with digestive conditions like celiac disease or Crohn's disease, which can affect nutrient absorption in the gut. If any of those describe you, and you're also dealing with persistent ringing in your ears, that combination is worth paying attention to. So, what can you actually do about this? Let's break it down into practical steps. First, get tested. Before assuming anything or starting any supplement, ask your doctor for a simple blood panel that includes vitamin B12 and, if possible, magnesium and zinc levels too. This gives you real information instead of guesswork. It's also important because your doctor can rule out other causes of tinnitus, like earwax blockage, medication side effects, or blood pressure issues, that need to be addressed differently. Second, look at your diet. If you eat meat, fish, eggs, or dairy regularly, you're likely getting some B12 from food. But absorption can still be an issue, especially as we age. Foods naturally rich in B12 include clams, beef liver, salmon, tuna, eggs, and dairy products like milk and yogurt. For magnesium, think dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. For zinc, oysters, beef, pumpkin seeds, and lentils are good sources. Third, if a deficiency is confirmed, work with your doctor on the right form and dose of supplementation. B12 can be taken orally, sublingually under the tongue, or in some cases as an injection, depending on how severe the deficiency is and how well your body absorbs it. This isn't a more is better situation. Your doctor can guide you on the right amount based on your specific levels. Fourth, protect your ears going forward. Even if a nutrient deficiency is a part of the picture, ongoing exposure to loud noise, concerts, power tools, headphones at high volume, can continue to damage the delicate structures in your inner ear. Using earplugs in loud environments and giving your ears regular, quiet breaks supports the long-term health of your hearing, regardless of what's going on nutritionally. And fifth, be patient. If a nutrient deficiency has been part of the cause, improvement is often gradual, sometimes taking weeks to a few months of consistent correction before any change in tinnitus is noticeable. And for some people, the ringing may improve only partially or not change much at all, because tinnitus can have multiple contributing factors layered on top of each other. I want to be honest with you about something important. Tinnitus is complex, and there's no single nutrient that acts like a magic switch for everyone. But what the research does suggest is that for some people, particularly those with an underlying B12, magnesium, or zinc deficiency, addressing that gap can be one meaningful piece of the puzzle, alongside other strategies like managing stress, protecting your hearing, and addressing any underlying medical conditions. Think of your body like a finely tuned orchestra. Every nutrient is like a section of that orchestra. Strings, brass, percussion, each playing its part. When one section is missing or out of tune, the whole performance can sound off, even if you can't immediately tell which instrument is the problem. Checking your B12, magnesium, and zinc levels is a bit like having a conductor go through and check whether every section actually has its sheet music and is ready to play. So here's what I'd encourage you to do this week. If you've been living with persistent ringing in your ears, don't just accept it as normal aging or something you have to tune out forever. Book an appointment with your doctor, Ask specifically about checking your vitamin B12, magnesium, and zinc levels, and have an honest conversation about your diet, your medications, and any digestive issues that might be affecting how well your body absorbs these nutrients. Small, targeted changes, guided by real information from your own blood work, can sometimes make a meaningful difference in how you experience your day-to-day life. And even if nutrition turns out to be just one small piece of your particular puzzle, ruling it in or out is a simple step that gives you more clarity and more control. If this video helped you understand tinnitus and its possible connection to nutrition a little better, that's exactly why I make these videos. To take complex medical information and break it down into something clear, practical, and useful for your everyday life. If you found this helpful, give it a like so more people struggling with this exact issue can find it, and subscribe if you want more straightforward, no-nonsense health breakdowns like this one. And remember, this video is for educational purposes and isn't a substitute for personalized medical advice. Your symptoms, your history, and your blood work are unique to you, so always loop in your doctor before making changes based on anything you've heard here, including this video. Take care of yourself, listen to what your body is telling you, sometimes quite literally, and I'll see you in the next one.